I'd like to reconvene from our open session. We do have some closed door reportables. We have expulsion of 2 students, banner number 001588843 and 002198086. And tonight, in closed session, the board voted 5-0 to adopt a resolution dismissing a regular academic employee. Would you please join me in the pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we're going to administer the oath of office of COS District Police Officer.
If I could have Daryl Locke and Ashley Hedrick, and your people who are going to continue this day. I'd like to caution you, they both have ballistic vests, so you won't draw blood. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Daryl Locke,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true and faithful allegiance
and I will bear true and faithful allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States,
to the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of California.
the Constitution of the State of California,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am not about to enter.
discharge the duties of about to enter.
Gently.
Ladies and gentlemen, our 2 newest officers of COS.
Public comments. Any person may address the board at this time with either on the agenda item or other items of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. A maximum of 5 minutes is allowed per speaker and a maximum of 15 minutes per subject unless otherwise extended by the board. Are there any public comments concerning on the agenda item? Are there any public comments that are not on the board? Yes, sir. Please give your name.
Yes, absolutely. Good evening. My name is Frank Thibault. I'm an instructor at COS. I've been for 15 years, and this is my 34th year instructing. On October the 19th and 20th, I'll be taking approximately 18 students to a collegiate agriculture leadership conference. And this organization was the brainchild of the agriculture teachers at College of the Sequoias. Some attendees from COS in the past who have attended this conference are men like Devin Nunes and David Valadeo, both of them graduates of COS and public names that you all recognize. In the past, this conference has been held at different places throughout the state of California. For the purpose of this organization is to expose community college students studying agriculture and leadership opportunities and career opportunities in the area of agriculture. This will probably be the last time that COS attends because the students pay for their own room, they pay for their own food. I volunteer all my time, fill out all that paperwork, And October the 4th, I was informed that this field trip that had been approved in the middle of September now would cost the students for transportation. It says on page 43 of the COS catalog that COS encourages and supports students joining student organizations. It actually says one or two. For the strength of a student gaining experience outside of the classroom in 36 years in the classroom, I can tell you, is invaluable. We have partners here in this community that are thrilled and invite my students to come to their place of business, as we did last Saturday, where not only was it a field trip, but every student that I took got to apply for a job at that institution that day. What the college has supported these efforts with has been exclusive to transportation. On October the 4th, I was told that beginning October the 1st, transportation requests indicating a purchase order number indicating which budget is to be charged for gas and mileage, or mileage, and the mileage is 42 cents a mile, shall be attached to the transportation request. Attached a list of who the authorized drivers are to be utilizing the district vehicle or purchase order. Copy of the student driver form documenting the student who is driving a district vehicle has been approved. Currently, student driver forms are only good for one semester. Student liability forms, student driver forms, liability forms. This is for a field trip. If it is club sponsored, you add 6 more pages. I am willing, able, and in 36 years, as the only man in the state of California to be named Star State FFA Advisor, I am willing, ready, and able to do these forms. It doesn't bother me that to take one student to this conference takes 11 pieces of paper filled out by me. That doesn't bother me. What I am upset about is the fact that I was informed that the district policy for supporting student organizations and the one financial thing that was done was transportation no longer will be offered, and that a activity that was already approved now must be paid for. Field trips that I budgeted, did not budget for because I was told my budget was due for my classes in August, now must be amended or canceled. I'm working with Luann Walder in the C6 grant to try to develop a better mousetrap for delivering specifically vocational education. One of the keystones of the plan that we have been working on for 18 months is a true internship program. A program that requires an instructor in the place of business where the students are hired on a paid basis or an unpaid basis for a true internship program. I end my remarks tonight and ask the board to please reconsider this measure and reinstate the funding for field trips, whether they are student club oriented or classroom oriented. Laboratory exercises require the support of the college. They are too expensive to be done on the budgets that we have now. They require dedicated teachers too. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Other comments?
Good evening, Board. I'm Robert Hanson. I teach biology at COS and have been there full-time since 1990. And I'm echoing the comments that Mr. Tebow just shared with you from the standpoint of the biology students, biology majors, but also club members in some of the clubs that involve the same need and the same, I guess we have come to depend on that kind of transportation support in the past. What I can tell you, my own personal story on this is related primarily to comments that I get from students who have been through our program, have gone on to other institutions as transfer students, and then talk to me years later, and they say that the one event during the semester, I wish they were saying, we just remember everything about mitosis and meiosis and genetics, and they may remember some of those, but what they remember and what they really got the most out of is the field trip experiences. And so for our bio majors in Bio 1 this semester, when they go on a tide pool trip over to San Simeon in November, that sort of support is something that they and faculty have become accustomed to. As Frank said, I'm not opposed to, I'm not unfamiliar with doing the paperwork, the the alternative classroom meeting site and the student liability forms and the driver, checking DMV records, all the things that we need to do. But we would certainly request a reconsideration of that policy regarding that support for the transportation. It's very important. I can think of 2 students who, after they left COS, one's at UC Santa Cruz now, both of them are. One has gone on to marine biology, doing scuba research in Malaysia. Another one is doing research in California, old growth forest here in the state of California. And these are students who kind of got their trigger and their excitement on a field trip. And we think very much of the value of that, and it's echoed in the comments that we get back from students. Thank you for your consideration.
Any other public comments not on the agenda? You want to respond?
Yeah, would you like me to respond?
Sure.
First of all, thank you for bringing the information forward. I guess I'll try to clarify a couple of things, because when we stand up before the board in a public meeting and ask them to rescind a decision they've made or a policy change that's taken place, in this particular context, that's just kind of misplaced. So there's nothing, I don't believe in anything Frank read or any of the documents that you're looking at that talk about the board taking any kind of an action or a policy or a procedure, a policy being changed. The thing that's happening is we're all looking at opportunities to try to manage the deficit in the budget. And so, of course, what we've started to do, a number of areas, but what we've started to do is take a look at our procedures and processes for accounting, tracking, and monitoring expenditures. What we learned when it came to gas cards and the use of gas cards and mileage is that we didn't have a system. So what we have is we have one big account somewhere, and not everybody knows exactly where. We have one big account, and everybody that has any kind of a gas card charge or a mileage charge just turns in the paperwork to that. So we knew that that wasn't a good system. We knew that we were going to be visited by our accrediting team, and that they were going to be spending at least a little time with us asking about systems and protocols for budget and finance and approvals. And I really didn't want to stand before our team and say, we have this gas card account, and you just turn in a card and it goes to the account. And somehow that gets paid. So we talked about this for a few months as a senior management team, recognizing that there were a number of questions that were going to continue to come up as we worked to try to shift. But initially what we talked about was shifting the actual expenses for the use of a gas card to the program, area, or department where they were going to originate. So then from there, you have a tracking system. Unfortunately, it sounds like what that's been translated to, or at least interpreted as, is that there's been some cut. First of all, a decision by the board, which there's been none. They don't know. This is an administrative business office decision to try to get a good tracking system in place. And then secondly, that there's been a policy change, and there hasn't. The forms and the documents that you're being asked to fill out are those that are required legally, and maybe we had them before and everybody didn't use them appropriately. Maybe we didn't have them available before and we should have. So the idea is to try to get those in place and get them lined up nicely, and then have a system where the charges for a certain trip or cost go to a department or a division so that we can see that. Recognizing, and we talked about this, and I apologize if it didn't all get translated exactly, but recognizing that there will be people who receive this request to shift money toward their budget that didn't have the opportunity in advance to plan a budget for those expenses. And we get that. So we know that there's got to be a reallocation of some of the resources that were in this big hidden account in the sky, this big center account. There may have to be some reallocation of those resources so that they go to the proper department or division, so that as those expenses come against them, they can be properly tracked and we can keep track of those. So it was really an effort to do better accounting and hopefully in the long run maybe have better accountability for those individual expenses, rather than just the submittal of expenses to a general account that wasn't being properly tracked or monitored. I apologize that you felt the need to actually come to a board meeting and interpret this as a policy change when that wasn't what it is. And I apologize that you felt the need to stand before the board and bring to their attention a budget detail and administrative detail that if you were to come to anybody in our office, the admin office, the vice president of administrative services, we're happy to help with these kinds of things. I've been trading email. I emailed Kevin back to say, hey, we know there's going to be things about this shift that you know, we're going to have to work out. Let us know what those issues are. So, but that's an explanation for all of you. We're happy to work on this at a staff level and make sure that we do the best we can to try to implement. But there's been no decision made to cut all of those resources. It's been an opportunity to try to track them better, put in a system that tracks them a little bit better, and if necessary, reallocate some of the existing budget that's there. So I think if you talk with the staff in the business office and in the vice president's office, that's exactly what the kind of feedback we want to try to work out implementation.
Any other public comments not on the agenda? Okay. Student trustee report. Did he get here? Board member report. Are there any board member reports? Okay. Foundation report. Accreditation report.
Hi, everybody. As you can see, we have some guests here today. So first of all, I want to introduce our accreditation team that's here. And if each of you could just stand up and introduce yourself, say what college you're from. So, do you want to start? Sure. Okay.
My name is Willie Duncan. I'm the superintendent president at Sierra College, and I'm chairing the accreditation team. Pleasure to be here. Thanks.
I'm Henry Young, president at Evergreen Valley College in San Jose.
Bob Livingston from Cerritos College, an instructor.
And I'm Yasmin Delahoussaye from the Los Angeles Community College District, where I'm the Vice Chancellor of Educational Programs and Institutional Programs.
And I'm Sam Holland on Taft College, just down the street.
Thank you. I also want to thank the board members who joined us this morning for our reception. We had a great welcoming reception for the team, great turnout from the community, our faculty, staff, and students. So I appreciate everyone that could be there. We have an open forum tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, 9:10 in the room 1 that all students, faculty, staff, and community members are welcome to come to meet with the team and ask any questions that they have. We have another open forum on Wednesday at 3:10 in the same room, room 1. And on Thursday, our closing session will be at 1:30 p.m. in the Ponderosa room, and all community members, faculty, staff, and students are welcome to come. At this time, our chair, Willie Duncan, said he could give a short overview of what's going to happen over the next few days and entertain a few questions from the board. So I'm going to let Willie start.
Happy to do that. So essentially our role here this week is we've all received your self-evaluation report that you've sent to us. We as a team have met for the first time this week, but as individuals have read through that document and also then via your webpage and other sources that the college and the commission have shared with us, have reviewed much information about the college. Our role on campus now is to conduct interviews, to look at evidence, to talk to individuals on campus. And our sole responsibility is that we evaluate the college in relation to the standards. So that's what our goal is. Over the next 4 days, we've essentially spent the first day today on campus in the team room that you provided for us, analyzing documentation and organizing ourselves as a group and how we're working together to work through the standards. We have begun some meetings with staff. We will have many, many, many more meetings with staff, students, faculty, some community members, some board members over the next several days, next 2 days, really, Tuesday and Wednesday. Unfortunately, it's a lengthy process that we go through. We will be working into the evening tonight and the next couple of nights. We will produce a report before we leave. It will be in draft form. We'll have an exit interview on Thursday. That's going to occur at, I believe, 1:30. I'm not sure what room that's scheduled in. But there you go. And everybody in the campus community is welcome to that. At that meeting, we will present an overview, essentially, of our findings, both recommendations and commendations. They will be in draft form at that point in time. But we'll present to you what we believe that will end up in the report. And then it's my responsibility as the chair of the team to submit that report to the commission within a few weeks after leaving the college. The college has an opportunity to review the report beforehand and correct any errors of fact or any omissions, things that we couldn't find that the college said, well, here it is. So there's that opportunity for the college to communicate with us. And then the commission, I believe, will read the report and take any action to accept the report or whatever they do at their January commission meeting. But I am happy, as Jennifer mentioned, to answer any questions for you if you do have any.
Any questions? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Have fun.
I just want to reiterate what Superintendent Carroll said this morning, that we just really appreciate the team being here. There's 11 people here who are completely voluntary, and they're here. They came in yesterday, and they're staying through Thursday and working the entire time, late into the evening. So we just appreciate them being here to help us in this process of seeing what we're doing right and seeing where we can make some improvements. So we appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Just for the record, I've been on the board longer than anybody else. I've seen other accreditation groups come. You all have always had good advice for us to make the college better. And we look forward to you helping us become better. Thank you.
Superintendent President's report.
I just have a brief report tonight. In the spirit of accreditation, there's been the welcome reception this morning, and thank you board members, those of you who were able to come, and staff who were there to meet the team as they arrived, and of course thank you again to the team. But there are also some folks that I want to make sure we say a special thank you to. Of course, Dr. Lacerna, who kind of took over, at least on our end, on the administrative end, leading the process for us late this summer. But I know long before that, faculty have spent a tremendous amount of time working on this. Faculty leaders and staff members, student groups that participated, and then the different divisions that all put their time and energy into preparing our report. As I watched the final stages of it unfold in the last couple of weeks, in our office I know that Annette and Linda, Bridget, Karen, and Janet, my assistant in particular, this last week, spent a lot of time with the final logistics. And now that everybody's here and the kind of process has begun, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to say thank you to all of those who had done so much to prepare earlier on and to get ready for the team to be here. So, thank you.
Academic Senate President's report. Costa President's report.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, team. Saw each other a few minutes ago. Nice to have met you all. Just a few comments here, and basically directed to the board and the district. As a result of last month's imposition, faculty is wondering what they ever did to earn such dislike from so many of you. This dislike has negatively affected students and their communities for the last several years. And you say it's because of budget concerns, but that can't really be, because according to the 311 you just filed with the state under penalty of perjury, you added to the reserves this year. Not much, but you added to the reserves. There wasn't any reduction. So it can't be because of budget concerns, because you spent at least $100,000 this year trying to defend an illegal imposition. So that money came from someplace. And you're willing to spend much more because I believe the contract for the attorneys is on the agenda, or was on the agenda last month. We just heard about gas card spending. But what about the Cal card spending? Haven't heard much about that lately. And I think last month it was quite substantial. You stated you imposed on faculty to have a more balanced budget, one that would not have increases each year. And again, you forced faculty to give up a portion of their rightfully earned and negotiated benefits, yet immediately after imposition, the superintendent announced that he has a 2-year budget plan, which in the second year apparently needs to rely on further concessions from faculty. Faculty has tried to be willing and supportive and be a partner with you so that students can be successful in reaching their goals, but that doesn't seem to matter. You keep reaching for more and more. It's no wonder that labor relations at COS are at such lows. You don't seem to ascribe any value to faculty, even though they are the ones bringing in the funds that administrators like to spend. Just total up the money and the labor that has been spent in beautifying the campus for the accreditation team. And I mean, it's fine to do that. You want to have a nice campus to look at. But could that money have been spent to serve students in a better fashion? And so again, as we made clear to the accreditation team, labor relations are at an all-time low. And it's because of the actions that have been taken against faculty for the last several years. Any questions? Thank you.
CSEA President's Report.
Thank you very much. Again, CSEA, the classified would like to welcome you. I've met some of you today in the theater. We have a mediation date set. It was a little farther out than we hoped, but CSEA, the main part of my report is from the state office on down to the locals, is using all its resources to try to make Prop 30 pass. And so they have taken all the administration from CSEA, all the labor reps, everybody. They're sending them out to make person-to-person contact, phone calls. So CSEA is working very hard all over the state, especially in this next month. But we do have a new mediation date set, and again, we are working very hard on our local level to get Prop 30 to pass. So that's very short and sweet. Hope to report back in November. Thank you.
I started asking what you're doing on Prop 32.
We're voting now.
Kostapa President's Report.
We have no report, thank you.
Any report on the obligation bonds? We just got a meeting. Next one for Measure I is March 5th. Measure J is October 15th. That's coming up. Well, that's the one you're going to be at. Okay, there's no information items. Consent calendars, all items listed on consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. An item may be removed from this consent calendar at the request of any board member or any person in the audience and considered as a separate agenda item. I will not be reading the consent calendar. Are there any that need to be withdrawn?
Good, item 4.
Do I have any other items? Let's take up 1, 2, 3, and 5. Do I have a motion approved?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, John?
I would like to have staff help me understand some of these numbers a bit. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what this MAA fund balance draw is. I noticed that there's all variances tend to be plus. And Doug, can you talk to us a bit about, to help us understand the future implications of this?
MAA is a fund balance that we earn money from Medicare when we refer students to different offices or different medical locations for services. So we do earn that money. It comes. We've been in the cycle for a number of years, so we don't spend that money until it's actually received. So as you see, the $402,000, that's a carryover amount that's added to the budget from the Medicare reimbursements that we've already received, and most of the changes that you see are related to that increase in funds. So it's an ending balance that gets rolled forward and reallocated at this time of year.
I also noticed that everything is going up and nothing's going down. Is that a trend that we need to worry about?
Well, it'd be a trend I'd like to worry about, but if you'll notice, 402,000 of the 616 is carryover, and we've also other revenue is 214,000.
I see there's a balance.
I don't believe that is a trend that's probably just settling up the books after we put our budget together in July. And we start rolling out some of our carryover funds that's been earned by our departments.
Okay.
So this is last year's money that's been earned by departments, or is in MA, which is a Medicare reimbursement account, that we roll back out and put back into department budgets for any of their operational costs this year.
John, can I make a comment? Or,
Please.
I think maybe there's a disconnect between the question you asked and the answer that Doug gave. Were you referring to the increases in the expense and the variance column for the expenses?
Yes.
Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were addressing the income items on there.
I'm addressing the income items, and the expense items correspond to that income. We did not allow people to put their carryover into the originally adopted budget. So
until you needed the funds because expenses had increased.
Yeah.
In essence, what we're saying.
yes, or there were expenses they were planning to incur with carryover money rather than ongoing funds.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve item 4?
I so move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Action items, curriculum, new, modified, and deleted. Dr. Serna.
Well, I'm very happy to be presenting curriculum to you again, and I want to just publicly thank Joni Jordan, our curriculum chair, Michelle Hester-Reyes, our academic senate president, and our COSTA leadership for working together to start working on curriculum again. And academic senate and curriculum committee have been meeting. So by the next board meeting, we'll have a lot more curriculum. As you can see, the classes that you have here are mostly 5-year reviews. Some of them are dropping repeatability, which, as you know, is the new law that just passed that we are no longer able to have repeatable courses in most areas. So we have a few of those here. We have classes in architecture, 2 in art, biology, carpentry, music, and several other areas before you today for curriculum. You'll have a lot more next month. And as always, the board gets new modified or deleted curriculum for your approval. Any questions on any of those courses?
Any questions? Do we have a motion to approve? Second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Resolution number 2012-26.
Yes, we bring to this resolution, it's one that you've seen before. We have an endowment account with the Hispanic Serving inside our Hispanic Serving Institution Fund, and that endowment account, under the guidelines, we're allowed to transfer 50% of the interest earned towards the general fund, and we're requesting the board adopt resolution number 2012-26 to contribute the $15,000 toward the makeup program, math, engineering, science, and achievement program for this week.
Okay, we have a motion approved? So moved. Second. Lori? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Mann? Trustee Mann?
Aye.
Trustee Cardoza?
Aye.
Trustee Nunes?
Aye.
Trustee Zumel?
Aye.
Trustee Sherman?
Aye. 2012 budget transfer category fund.
Yes, we bring forward this action to transfer $1, and you sort of say, that guy really lost his money. And the answer is no, but back in 2009-10, when we saw a lot of budget cuts, and we saw categorical programs taking as much as 40 to 60% reduction, this came into effect where we transfer $1 from one of those funds to another fund. That transfer, and it can be as little as $1, it could be millions if we had millions to transfer. But we choose to transfer $1, and what that does is put us in compliance with all those funds that were reduced 40 or 60%. So we're transferring just the $1 to comply with all the regulations and requirements.
And we do this every year.
And we do this every year. Last year we did it in February or March. I was here with the state board.
Okay. Do you have a motion approved?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Announcement, where are we on? Oh, wait a minute, I almost skipped over Eric. Change orders.
This is the final change order for the North Administration wing remodel. As you can all see, we're living in the building now. It's working out very well. The accreditation team is being housed there. It's turned out very well. So there's 6 contracts here under our multiple prime method: the architectural woodwork, concrete, electrical data, fire alarm, finished carpentry, HVAC controls, sheet metal, and the landscape and irrigation contracts. So there's change orders for each. There's its share of enhancements. There's a few omissions, and the errors have been charged back to the appropriate party. The project does still have $37,000 in its contingency fund that has not been committed as of this date. So it's recommended that the board approve the change orders for the architectural, woodwork, concrete, electrical, finished carpentry, HVAC, landscape and irrigation contracts.
Any questions? Okay. I have a motion, Lori. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I appreciate the staff's efforts to make sure that people who make errors pop up, and somebody doing the job when that happens.
Announcement approval of Vice President Academic Services. Mr. Crash.
In the middle part of August, we began recruitment for a permanent Vice President of Academic Services. As you'll recall, Duncan Graham took another job and vacated his Vice President position at the end of June, and Jennifer Cerna took over as the interim. When Mr. Carasosa came on board, one of his first goals was to get a permanent replacement, permanent person named to that position. We began recruiting in the middle part of August, and we went through the entire recruitment process. We had 30 applications for this position, and they were very qualified. 7 were interviewed for an interview with the hiring committee, and 3 were then forwarded to Mr. Carasosa. And by understanding tonight, the board met with Mr. Carasosa's named candidate, and at this time I would ask the board to officially name Vice President of Academic Services, so we can make it official.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve Dr. Lacerna?
So moved.
Second.
And Lori seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations. Announcement approval of the VP of Administrative.
Along those same lines, we began recruitment in the middle part of August, and with the help of the hiring committee, we received over 20 applications. Of those 20 applications, 6 candidates were interviewed, and 3 were then forwarded to Mr. Carasosa. And this time I was asked that the board officially name the new Vice President of Administrative Services and approve the hiring.
Brent Calvin, do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I would so move.
Second. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Brent. We will adjourn this meeting, and then we'll reconvene here at 6:30 to meet with the Tulare County School District and the Tulare City Council. So, meeting adjourned. Thank you all. I would like to reconvene the COS board meeting. Turn it over to Frank for opening the meeting.
To adopt the agenda. All in favor? Aye. There he is.
I say aye.
Okay,
Good.
Mr. Mayor?
All right, we'll go ahead and call to order the council meeting of the city of Tulare. And do that without Roxanne?
That's
We'll do
good.
that without Roxanne. We're good.
Aye.
Okay, would you please join me in the
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll have several introductions. I'm Greg Sherman, College of Sequoias. I represent Visalia Ward.
Ken Nugnes from Tulare, and I represent a ward here. I'm not sure which number it is.
Tulare.
To Earl Mann from the colony of Wood Lake.
Lori Cardoza, and I represent Tulare and Corcoran, Bixley, Tipton, South area.
John Zumwalt, Ward 5, represent Hanford area, Armona, Goshen, and the very western portion of Visalia. I come right down to, but not in Tulare.
Don Dorman, City Manager, City of Tulare.
Greg David, Tulare City Council, also proud to serve on the COS Foundation.
Wayne Ross, Tulare.
Skip Barwick, City Council, Tulare.
Stan Carrizosa, Superintendent President of the College of the Sequoias.
Janet Barberio, Executive Assistant to the President.
Sarah Collegian, Superintendent of Tulare High School District.
Frank Fernandez, President of the Tulare High School District. Greg Hamilton, Vice President of the High School District, and I believe District number 2. You're 4.
Kathy Medeiros, Tulare Junior High School Board Member, Area 1.
Area 51, I don't know. Steve Leslie, Trustee for High School.
Laura Fonseca, School Board Member.
Well, welcome. Public comments, any person may directly address the board and the council at this time with any item that is on the agenda or any other item of subject matter jurisdiction of the boards or the council, a maximum of 5 minutes allowed per speaker. Are there any public comments? All right. College of Sequoias, I'll turn it over to Mr. Carrizosa.
Well, this being my first opportunity to meet jointly with all of you, I just want to say on behalf of College of the Sequoias, thank you for the commitment to the joint meeting. I think the opportunity for us to be together as a feeder high school district, a feeder city in our area, and the college is a really meaningful opportunity. Of course, we've got some special things to talk about and celebrate now with regard to the city of Tulare and COS's involvement and partnership with the city of Tulare, so we're excited about that. But thank you for that opportunity to meet jointly. I know it takes extra time and energy, and I'm glad that we're able to do this. Tonight we have, from our perspective, 3 reports for you. We've tried to make them informative, but hopefully succinct as well. We're going through our accreditation as a college right now. It's an every 6-year process. Earlier tonight at our regularly scheduled meeting, we had representatives of our accreditation team here. Excuse me. They started officially today. We have 11 members of an accreditation team that will be with us through Thursday. We've worked really hard and have done a lot to prepare for that. And of course, the Tulare College Center has been a big part of the highlight in our report for accreditation, so we're excited to share that. So we'll have our our Vice President of Academic Services, Dr. Jennifer Lucerna, giving our first report. And so I'll call Jennifer up to report on accreditation.
Thanks. So I just give you a little bit background on accreditation. I'm sure you've all been seeing in the news what's happening in accreditation with the news on the city of San Francisco College as well as Cuesta College and some of the issues they've been having. So this is a really important time for COS to show the areas that we're doing really well in and to show where we may need to make some improvements. So our last accreditation visit was in 2006, and at that time we had been put on warning for several areas around the college, some of them including how our processes work internally, our communication, our structure. And over the past 6 years, we've made incredible strides. We've changed our, processes, we worked on what's called a program review internally, where each program does a review every, it was 5 years, now they're doing it 6 years. There's a large review of every program, and it's directly tied to funding at the college. So you need to do well on your program review, show that your program is improving and advancing in order to get different funding streams in the college. And that's really important to accreditation teams. We have made so much progress over the past 6 years in all areas that were the recommendations from before, and we feel really confident about where we are right now. Some of the big areas in accreditation right now is student learning outcomes. That's an area that is new to the community college system. I know in high school and some of the other areas that's been around for a long time, but it's new to the community colleges, and so we've been learning over the past few years how to articulate that and how to make student learning outcomes make sense. And we're still in process of that, and so we've been really open and had good conversations with the accreditation team about where our direction is with student learning outcomes. We also, I'm sure you guys have also seen in the news with our budget, we're facing a $3.5 million budget deficit this year if Proposition 30 doesn't pass. 4.5 million, he's whispering at me. $4.5 million budget deficit if the Proposition 30 doesn't pass. And so we're looking, they're also going to come in and say, how are we planning for that? And so our Vice President of Administrative Services and our Superintendent have been working really closely on developing a plan that we can show them about how we can maintain our budget and stay fiscally sound for the next several years. So we're planning to talk to them about all of that. We have a great team. 3 of the members were, our chair is the president of Sierra College, and he was on our team in 2006. We have 2 other members who were on our team in 2006, one from LA Community College District, and the other one used to be at West Hills. He was then at Taft, and he's now the president of Evergreen Valley College. So it's a group that really knows about the Valley. They understand, and in fact, our chair was at Taft College as well. So they understand the Valley, they understand kind of some of the issues that we're dealing with. We have a whole slew of staff, faculty, our board members, our managers, our administrators, and students who will be meeting with them over the next 2 days. And then I would like to invite you all personally to our open forums. We have an open forum tomorrow morning at 9:10 a.m. in room 1. And that's for all community members, faculty, staff, students to come and talk to the accreditation team and ask any questions or give any input. Our second open forum is Wednesday at 3:10 p.m., also in room 1. And then on Thursday, there's an exit meeting with them that is at 1:30 on Thursday in our Ponderosa room, and they'll give us some initial findings and initial results. The chair already met with our superintendent this morning, and just so you are aware, there's a 300-page report that goes along with that. So we've spent 2 years putting together this report with a team of faculty and staff and students and administrators looking at all of the 4 standards of accreditation for the WASC, or Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And so they've looked at the 4 standards, which are institutional effectiveness, our mission. The second one is on student services and academic services. The third one is finance, technology, and facilities, and the 4th one being our board and our governance processes. So they look at all 4 of those areas, and they ask questions, and the report is based on that. So we're looking forward to it. I think we're going to do very well. I'm confident about our work that we've done over the past 6 years and all of the great changes that we've made, including a lot over the past several months with our new leadership. So we'll know more on Thursday, but we're hoping to have a really good report. We're expecting to have some recommendations, but the recommendations will be things that make us stronger as a college and help us move forward even more than we have over the past 6 years. That was quick. Any questions on our accreditation?
Given you had some issues 6 years ago in the report, does that make your scrutiny any a little tighter, or does that have any bearing on this go around?
Not necessarily, because the next step, I should have said, that happened is after that, we were required to write an additional report. They came back out in 2008, and we were taken off warning. But what they will do, even though we were taken off warning and we had approved by that point of 2008, they'll go back to those recommendations from 2006 and make sure that we've still continued to improve in those areas. So there definitely will be some scrutiny, but we're really solid in those areas, so. Other questions?
For clarity, you might point out that almost no college gets a perfect score.
Correct. We have, if you look at the past, they meet twice, their committee meets twice a year, and they make recommendations on all of the colleges that went through that accreditation during the past 6 months. And looking at the last several meetings, in the last one, only 3 colleges were not on warning or did not receive some kind of sanction. So they've become very strict. Part of it is that the nationwide, there's been a lot more emphasis on accreditation, and so there's been a lot of pressure in California for them to be tighter and stricter in what they're looking for. So as a result, most colleges are not getting off without a warning, at least. So we're going to be really good if we get through without a warning and just with recommendations, which is where I think we're going to be. So, other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our reports on the agenda are to have an opportunity to give you a quick overview of all of the plans we have set to get the COS Tulare College campus open this January. We've been talking about it as a soft opening with an opportunity to have our first round of students and staff and programs start to transition over mid-year. So I'm going to introduce the dean for our transition, Larry Dudo, who will talk you all through the plans for the Tulare campus opening.
Real quickly, if you build it, they will come. And now you've built it, they will come. I've armed you with 2 documents. One is the schedule for the spring semester, so it's not a fictitious thing that we're not going to have any classes down here. There's 85 classes in the spring schedule already with about 2,200 seats. There's the listing of all the classes, the entire ag program, architecture program, graphic arts program, drafting program, welding program. Will all be moved down here with general ed courses. If you look at your little bookmark, which I've also given you, on one side it shows you all the areas and the classes and the programs that you can take around with you. So when you're in the coffee shop and somebody asks you, well, I heard they're not doing anything down in Tulare, you're armed with something that you can whip out and show them. On the other side is, how big is that building? So I gave you some square footage of what building A, B, and C are. The 65,000 square feet of building out in phase 3, and then how many square feet are in the OH unit. So that gives you a little bit of a snapshot of what we have. These buildings, A, B, and C, are about 97% complete. The phase 3, which is the animal facility, animal science and complex, is about 91%. They will be done by December. These buildings here, starting next Monday, we will be bringing in $3.5 million worth of furniture, furnishings, and equipment. And so we've got 280 some computers that are coming in, and so it's going to be a monumental undertaking. Just to kind of show you what happens is, on Friday, I call Eric Middlestead and I said, do we have toiletries in the bathroom? We have a meeting on Monday. So, oh yeah. Do we have trash cans? We have nothing here. So, anyway, so that's what you get when you open up a new facility. I was talking to Mr. Carasosa between the meetings, and I said, everybody's talking about the budget and this and that and the other. I want to remind everybody that COS was opened in 1926. In 1930, we had the greatest depression this country ever had. So this time shall too pass. And so we've got a beautiful facility here. We're going to figure out how to operate it and run it and budget it and do all the things that we need to do. So, anybody have any questions?
Dave, I'm surprised some of these basic PE type classes, poli-sci, history, stuff that's so difficult for kids to get into. So these are additional classes that you're all continuing to
We surveyed all of the students that were going to be moved down here in January to find out what their GE needs were. Dr. Lucinder, our new permanent Vice President of Academic Services, met with all the division chairs 2 weeks ago, and we've looked at all the patterns for transfer students, and so we're encouraging our divisions to have those courses offered here. So by fall of 13, we'll have a full complement for a transfer student. And our initial educational plan was when the doors open, you could get an ASAA degree in architecture, an AAAS degree in biology, or an AAAS degree in agriculture. So we're going to make this thing work. It'll take a little time, take a little money, but we'll get it figured out. So take these around to your community meetings. January the 9th is ribbon cutting and open house tours, because we have students starting on the 14th. So that will be at 10 a.m. I've already asked the Tulare Chamber to give me their big scissors. So we'll have the ribbon, and we'll have the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then it'll be open to the public to do tours. And so students will be looking where their classes are, and we start the following Monday. Okay, and then I think Skip or Craig has something about an event coming up in another couple of weeks. Any more questions? Thank you.
Real quick, Larry, while you sit, you can sit down.
Oh, go ahead.
How are you guys prepared for the securing this facility? I mean, is the fence staying up till?
The fence that's out, construction fence, will be taken down. All of these buildings are alarmed. We have campus security, police. Everything down in phase 3 has a fence around it. So those are the, we feel that it will be secured. So Mr. Carasosa just found out last week in our planning meeting that we don't have a fence around it. And so we may look at that. But hopefully it'll be safe out here.
My understanding was early on in the discussions, it was important to make sure that the area that was going to be primarily for housing animals and so on would all have proper safety, security, fencing, protection, etc. But there was a little debate about the aesthetics of kind of fencing and gating in front of the campus, how that looks from the street and that kind of thing. So most of what was invested in security here proper is in the buildings, the alarms, the lighting, the landscaping to a certain extent, and then the human resources that'll be here in terms of campus security and safety. So we're not ruling out the possibility of additional fencing if we need it, but I think we want to build out the original plan, get it done, and then take a look and do it.
Frank, I'm surprised. You're insinuating we have a crime problem in Tulare?
Maybe you guys can.
This is Tulare.
For those that would like to see the facility when we're done here, I'll be taking you on a tour of buildings A, B, and C if you were interested. And I know it'll be a lot cooler tonight than it was when I took the high school board around that one night when it was 110 degrees.
Larry, if I may, the Hanford campus was built not too long ago. It's just as far out in the country as this place is. There's not a fence around anything, and they've had no difficulties.
My favorite story is Bruce Jensen, that started the ag program in the 40s, was downtown getting a haircut one day, and the barber asked him, why did they build COS so far out in the country? And he was talking about the Mooney campus. So that's how fast things go. So.
Yeah, I have a question. You know that in January you'll have some buildings that are not utilized?
Do you want to speak to how we'll roll out the opening of the buildings, Larry?
I think to the credit of a lot of the faculty and staff on campus, we're going to open up the whole thing. I know there was talk initially about a soft opening or leaving building A closed. That's not the case. We have, Jennifer was talking about accreditation. We're doing the substantive change right now. And we have staffing. We have people that want to come down here. And so working with Tamara and Student Services, we've got a full-time counselor coming, we have librarians coming, we have financial aid people coming, we have faculty coming, we have classified. So a While you were in the first meeting, Matt Borges, who's teaching 3 sections of math, came out, and he lives here in Tulare, right across over here, and he's going to be teaching his primary load here. He wants to be here. He walked in, he said, hey, my classroom's right there. I can take more math students, give me a bigger classroom. So that's the attitude that we have of people that want to come down here, spend their whole full teaching load here. So I think that's a real tribute to what we've built here.
Initially, we weren't going to open any more of the facility than we had a commitment from faculty to come. And I think what Larry's sharing with you is slowly momentum and acceptance of the transition has built. And now there's sufficient faculty and support staffing to come to open both of the big buildings right off the bat. So we're excited about that.
If we didn't, if it wasn't for budget and we could grow, we'd fill this thing up the first day. I mean, that's what we've got. So working with student services, they've got a rotation where full-time folks will come down here, spend 4 days here, and then if they have to go back on campus on Friday, then they can do that. So this thing will be staffed. This is the instruction building, and then the academic services and student services. Okay.
Any other questions? The last item we had on our share of the agenda tonight, I think originally Sherry Bell was going to be here, but maybe one of you folks from the COS Tulare Auxiliary Foundation can give us a quick update on the upcoming fundraiser.
I'd be really happy to. A couple of years ago or so, the COS Foundation Board reorganized and we formed 3 auxiliaries that serve underneath the main foundation board. So there's an auxiliary in Hanford, one in Visalia, another one here in Tulare. We've got a great group. We had a great committee here in Tulare. Sherry Bell serves as the president of that committee. And we're going to do something real exciting to help open up this gorgeous facility to our community. We're going to honor a couple of Giants of the Year, and that would be Ken Ninnis and Sue Shannon. They had a lot to do with making this dream possible. I believe we're going to have it right here in the hall. I don't know exactly, but I think that's where we're going to hold it.
Right out here, right here, outside this door, right here.
Yeah. And tickets are $100 a person. There's opportunities to buy tables. And Joanne White, Mark's wife, has been like a #1 table seller. There's opportunities for sponsorship, but mainly we want to get people here. We want them to see this gorgeous facility and learn more about what it offers, what it will do for our community, and give them opportunities to maybe to write some big checks, some sponsorship kind of checks. And with the proceeds from this fundraiser, our thing is we're going to buy some of these magic whiteboards. I'm not sure what they're called, but
smart boards.
Okay. Like
Magic whiteboard, that's another term. I realize.
they're really smart boards. So that's our intent, to use proceeds from that fundraiser to purchase some of those for these classrooms. And I believe we're starting at 5 with tours and whatnot, and then we'll have supper catered by the Vintage Press. It'll be really nice event. So I would encourage us all to spread the word and let's fill this place and just create some additional excitement for COS in Tulare.
Any other questions on the upcoming fundraiser?
What date is this again?
It's October 27th. It's a Saturday.
Turn it over to Tulare School District.
Well, on our agenda, we have an update on the signal light located at Morrison and Bardsley Avenue. I think,
Lucas here. The city of Tulare approached the high school district and city school district in sharing in the cost of the first signal light up and down the corridor of Bardsley here, and they have determined that Bardsley Morrison would be that first area to put a traffic signal. And the city of Tulare, city schools and our school district is sharing in our part of the cost, 50% each, and of course the city of Tulare is also pitching in there. But the reason that I put this on the agenda was just so we publicly could hear an update on the timeline of when we can expect the signal light to go in, any road closures, as we're getting our kids to school, or things that we need to be aware of. So I'll turn it over to the city of Tulare or Mike Whitlock to maybe let us know a little more details.
I would be happy to provide an update. We do have a project to extend Morrison Street from Bardsley to Alpine. As part of that project, we added the traffic signal at Morrison and Bardsley. The actual road extension project is scheduled to be completed and open November, middle of November. Since we added the traffic signal by change order in late August, the signal will not be completed until the first of the year. We feel that will tie in well with the COS opening. The elementary school is also under construction, as you're aware, at the corner of Morrison and Alpine. By the first of the year, too, we expect to have the dedication of right-of-way on Morrison, north of Alpine or north of the new school, to be able to tie in Morrison all the way to Tulare Avenue. So that will help with north-south circulation and make some of the traffic relief off of Oakland. So that's where we're at with the traffic signal. Sarah did say that the traffic signal is being funded jointly by the city, the high school district, and the city school district.
That is November of 12.
November of this year, yes.
So January then for the signal.
January for the signal. We'll likely open the street before that. Place a temporary stop or a stop sign on Morrison as it comes south into Bardsley. But once the signal is done, then that intersection will be fully operational with the traffic signal.
Anything else?
I didn't put on the agenda, but if I could segue and just give you a brief update on our facility master plan process for the high school district. Our board has engaged a consultant to help us with planning for our future growth as a high school district. We're over 5,300 students this year, and that's not including our adult ed. And 2 of our campuses are impacted with student enrollment, which is a good problem to have. And 1 of our campuses still has space. So the first part of our next steps was to engage a boundary study. So we should have that information within the next month to see if we might be looking at readjusting our lines to be able to fill up the empty space that we do have at Tulare Western. Mission Oak and Tulare Union are impacted right now with full enrollments. After we get that information back, we'll be looking at the list of priorities for our next building projects, and the top 3 projects on that list right now are the growth classrooms at Mission Oak, another bank of 10 classrooms there. We're also looking at constructing our classrooms for the ag farm that we're planning to have here at the COS campus. And then we're looking to do some modernization and upgrades to our existing campuses, Tulare Union with the entry from that back parking lot and creating more of a designated entry from that area. And also at Western doing some infrastructure type work. And each of the campuses has projects designated, but our board will be looking at that list and actually designating which projects we're moving forward with first after we get our boundary study back. So that's where we are with that process, and we'll be moving forward in the next few months on that.
Anything else? Okay. City of Tulare.
Well, I believe all we have on the agenda is an update on the transit situation with COS. Typically, our low facts and figures, Mr. Arlene Thompson, who's our finance director, will present that for us.
I think it was back 3 years ago, it was October 2009, when this idea came together about having a pass for the college, for the students to use to go to school. And, I'm just pleased that this has been an excellent program. The TEAC has been involved in it. This campus will be serviced by the City of Tulare Bus Transit Services and the Tulare County Services. There will be, our services will run every 30 minutes. The county buses will run every hour. It doesn't just serve this campus alone, but it will also serve Mission Oak. So when Mike is talking about, Morrison Street and whatever opening up, we're hoping that the students will take the buses instead. Now, I think most of you understand is with the COS students, they're paying an extra $5 in their student body fees, and that will give them unlimited use of the buses in Tulare County completely. So that has really worked really well. We have a direct services right now, which is 11X, and it goes from our it makes only 4 stops. It goes to our transit center, to COS, to Visaya Transit Center, and back to COS, and back to Tulare. We will be using that same services going from 11X, which will start at our transit center, and it would take Route 7, will bring them here to the Tulare campus. So, you know, we really need to emphasize to students that this is something that they're paying for, and it's just a great program for them to use. As you can see, our Route 7 will go down, I guess it's Tulare-Lindsay Highway, and come down to Road 132. And like I said, we run it every 30 minutes. It will drop off and pick up every 30 minutes, starting at 6:30 in the morning, and will end at 6:30 at night. The county route would be Route 40, and their main route is at the south end of the county. They will bring the south end county students up to COS, and from there they can catch Route 7, and it can take them all the way to our transit center, which then will take them on over to the city of Visaya. So there's no reason why there's any student that should not be able to go to college. We're making this, it's a joint effort with all the cities here in Tulare County to get the students to college. One thing is you were talking, Mr. Drew was talking about how you're going to have staff that's going to be here. Staff can also use the same services, but there's a little bit of charge for them. And our services, it's $1.25, but they can get a monthly pass for $40, which will let them use for the whole month. While with the county buses, it's $1.50 one way. With the T-Pass, it's good for $45, and that's good for all of Tulare County. With the bus, with the gas prices now the way they are, I don't know, is it $5 a gallon yet? Close. You know, this is really a cheap way of going, and this is something that the city is very committed to providing this service for the students. The next idea, the next things that we're going to be talking with COS is there's a joint idea that right out north here is the hub where the buses will be coming and going, and there's been some ideas, and it's not going to be right yet, but that's going to be like a little kiosk that there might be a coffee place. This is where they can meet. There'll be information that the students can be getting, whatever on campuses. So that's our idea, that eventually that will be the main area, and hopefully you won't need that much parking because the students are taking the buses instead. Our implementation schedule is we have basically finalized our bus routes and bus stop location. Our next is we're working with COS on the location. I think we have determined the campus stop where it's going to be. We will start installing bus signs so the students will know where the buses will be stopping. And then in December, we're going to really be marketing that they can be using this. If a student's going to the Visaya campus, they can come to Tulare campus and get on here within a half an hour. So that's our goal, is to eliminate some of the traffic. And then in January, once you guys are open, we will provide the services for the students and for the faculty if they're ready. And anyway, like I said, this program isn't just for the COS students, but it's also help missionary students too, because there's a stop right by the campus that we'll be having.
John, don't we also tie into Kings County too?
Yes.
COS?
Kings County is also involved in this, so it's a dual county. Kings County is involved, all the cities in Tulare and Tulare County is involved, and the students are just paying $5 a semester, and it can get them, that $5 is good for them throughout the whole Tulare County.
Will missionary students also be charged a $5 fee?
No. The $5 fee, and I thank the board on this, is that they went to a vote with the students, and the students are paying this in their student body fees. So no, they have to pay the full price. There's a
and I think we subsidize it too. So.
You subsidize, I think 40 cents for each of the students, and I think 25 cents or something for all of them. I mean, $5 at this point for the semester is very cheap for the students to get to campus. I mean, that's a gallon of gas, and I don't know if you can get very far. But you know, there should be any reason why students not going to classes, because we are giving them every opportunity to get there if possible.
One thing I noticed is the route stops, the last one's at 6:30.
Yes.
So really it doesn't make itself available for evening classes here.
No, this is something I'm going to be talking with our council. The city of Tulare has been designated as, it's going to be designated as 5307. Right now, we're designated as 5311 for transit, and we're very limited with our funds. But being designated as 5307, we're going to be the same as Visalia. We'll get probably almost twice as much money as what we had in funding from the federal government than we did before. One of my first task that I have with this extra money is to take it to council, is that my belief is to extend the services in the evening for the COS campuses. I wouldn't say every single route's going to be open, you know, maybe not on the west side of town or whatever, but probably our 11X and our 7. But that's our goal. We probably will get the extra money next year, so this is something I'm working on now, that we will be able to open at night with our services for the students. Right now, funding is very limited. We need to get an extra $300,000 a year from the federal government to run our program. And charging $1.25 a ride is not, it doesn't get you very far.
Good. Yes. No, I want to thank you for thinking this is important. There's others in the room that can speak this better than I can, but the demographics of our students are such that there's a lot of students that can't afford to go to school without a way to get there. You go out in front of the campus, in front of the main building there in Visalia, and you watch this old car pull up, and there's a mother, and there's Junior in the back seat, their sisters coming from their job, and they're picking up the daughter to go home, and you know, and they have one car for the whole family's transportation. Needs to go to work, they go to school, and what's up there. And there are studies statewide that show that, I guess it's probably not quite right, but for every 20 miles, the attendance rate drops in half. And what you're doing is hugely important to the college and the young people in your community if they're going to do it.
You know, that's what the transit services is for, is to get the people to where they need to be. Let me tell you, our 11X is our biggest ridership. It's going to COS and back. It's our biggest ridership throughout the whole city of Tulare. So it's very important, and I think it's important for our councils that we get these students to school.
I'm not sure how Corcoran fits into this. I know we've had some discussions before about that piece. That may be something, because that would be a very important area to serve, because I'm sure there's a need there. That may be something Stan would want to talk about. We're going to talk to those folks we meet with them.
Yeah, we do. We have meetings scheduled to continue our partnership with Corcoran. I know from my visits to the Hanford campus that there's a pretty strong transit connection right now between Corcoran and the Hanford campus. And I've actually even talked to some students who are getting the $5 deal to be able to get back and forth for all their campuses, all their classes on that campus. I think it would be a natural and a very familiar fit for them if we were able to somehow complete that loop and give them the opportunity to come in this direction, particularly if they end up with majors that are going to be parts of the signature programs that will be on this campus. So certainly a conversation we can continue to have with Corcoran.
And that's something we will. You know, all the cities are working with TCAG on this, and TCAG is the main partner who's driving this whole thing. And I think you guys have the agreement with TCAG, and we have the sub-agreement with TCAG itself. But, you know, I think what you'll find that in all the cities, you know, our goal is to serve the people who need the transit services. If not, it's just a waste of time and money that we're getting on those things. So I think it's, you know, something that can be brought up to Ted, on Mr. Christina Chavez, who's in charge of the transit for TCAG. And Kings County has been great with working with the county of Tulare. Their ridership isn't very much, and they have the longest ride from Hanford all the way into Visalia. And they're getting the least amount of money out of this whole thing, but they are committed to get the students to their classes.
Well, and I would echo the comments that board member Zumwalt shared just to the city of Visalia, that because you have so many priority decisions pushing on your resources and how you fashion those routes to be able to move people around the city of Tulare based on what their needs are, the fact that all of you continue to make the transportation to and from the College of the Sequoias programs a high priority, we appreciate that 100%. Thank you very much for that.
I mean, just as a practical matter, fog between Tulare and Corporate is the bottom of the valley. Or how does the buses handle that some of the worst times?
They probably have special lighting. We
But
contract
they will
out.
continue to run though.
They will continue to run. There has not been any time, except for maybe an accident or traffic, that they haven't run. They will be running. So that should not be.
Well, it's, you know, it certainly is an added level of danger, but if you just can't make it to class, it's not good.
Well, let me tell you, our
Have a
drivers,
level of dependability.
our drivers are professional drivers, so I would not be concerned about that. Yeah, safer than a car, it's bigger.
You know, as a member of the Air Board, I think there is an opportunity here, because these students are the future non-car drivers. You know, they keep pushing us for transit-oriented development. They want us to ride buses. They're going to play heck taking our cars away from us. But I think this generation here will be the generation that will use transit. And there could be a place somewhere with trying to reduce the PM 2.5 and everything else. There could be a play somewhere within the Air Board in some kind of program, possibly come up with some funding on this too, and I will check that out for you for a fact.
We're going to get airport to help supplement some of our funding. And
See how smart I am?
yeah.
Let me know when you go, and I'll try to help you out.
Let me tell you that $5 is not any of our costs, but it's something, you know, I really, so COS also puts in a little funding into it, but when you talk to all of us transit providers, we're losing money off this, but that's where our federal grant money comes into play. Now let me also emphasize with you is that on our 11X, during a certain time of the day when these kids are going to school, I should call them kids, because when they're going to school, when they're coming out, those are our biggest. We sometimes have standing room only. By say it's having the point where they're having to leave some of them at the bus station because they don't have enough room on the buses. And those are the things we're looking at. So we know it's being used and the students are using it. Now it's us providers to make it easier and a better services for them.
Yeah, the $5 a gallon for gas is only going to drive that ridership up.
Yeah.
Our kids may be hooked to their cars, but they're more hooked to their wallets. And when they can find cost-effective ways, they're going to gravitate to those.
Yes, and I'm more concerned about the kid that doesn't own a car.
But I want to thank you for the opportunity given us to provide the services to the students.
What is the actual cost per student?
It's not $5 a month.
I know it's not $5, I was just curious.
We haven't really gotten that
Okay.
together, but it's really quite high, especially with the price of gasoline now.
How many riders will you accommodate on these buses?
I have a 35-passenger bus, and then you consider some of them have a bike, so you got to put bikes. And we do have a bike rack in the back, but it only holds like 3 or 4 bikes. So we have a 35-passenger bus, and that's full certain time of the days on our 11X route.
Does it take disabled students?
Yes, we do. We have to have, our buses has to cover ADA issues.
Jolene, are they running on natural gas or gasoline?
CNG, natural gas. It's CNG.
Can't they consider you looking at a larger capacity bus to accommodate? I mean, then your costs, I would think, go down because you're moving more bodies both ways.
Well, I've got 2 grants out there to buy 3 new buses. One of them is going to be dedicated for this 11X, and I'm looking at the next size bus larger because I don't want to leave anybody off to the side. Visea is also looking at that. They're the one who has more issue because they go down Winnie Boulevard. They're looking at getting a bigger bus. And these are the issues that us cities are having to deal with is how we're gonna handle all of these students. Now with the price of gas is going up, we really feel like we're gonna have more students on our buses than that has been using it. So it's gonna be an impact on us. But I am looking at buying a bigger bus. But with a bigger bus, it comes with a bigger cost that goes with it.
Thank you. Anything else?
Well, sir, I believe that's it.
Are there any items from the members or staff that you'd like to add at this time?
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Are there any plans to widen Bardsley? I mean, we're going to open up a new elementary school in this facility here, and from Laspina all the way to 132, it's pretty much a single lane road, and I've seen the traffic when Mission Oak gets out in the morning as well as in the afternoons. And I was wondering if there's any plans from the city to expand or widen that stretch of road, because it seems to me it's going to be awfully congested when all these sites open.
No immediate plans to widen the street. The street will be widened as property develops, and there is significant amount of vacant property in that stretch that needs to develop. We do have plans in our development impact fee schedule of projects to ultimately signalize Bardsley and Oakmore, but the actual widening of the street is typically done as property develops.
Any other comments? Adjourn. Thank you all for coming.